For row 2, we are going to chain 1, and then we are going to turn our work and add the very first single crochet into the first stitch at the base of the turning chain. And then we will start our little modification, and that is to add a double crochet into the first chain space. So right here, that is where we had the chain 1 from row 1. And then we will add a single crochet into the top of the last single crochet or next stitch, and then a double crochet into the chain space, single crochet on top of the single crochet, all the way until the end. And your very last stitch should be a single crochet as well. One thing that I noticed while I was working this round is that sometimes it can be a little difficult to add the single crochet on top of the single crochet, like right here I'm struggling a little bit. That generally happens, in my experience, when the chain ones in between the single crochet are too tight. So even though when you generally when you go very fast, your chains tend to be a little bit tighter, and in the last video I was talking about making sure you push the loop back onto the body of the hook. What you want to also add here is that you make that loop a little bit bigger than you normally would, because if your chains are too tight, it is going to decrease the size of the stitch tops from the single crochet, and it is going to increase the possibility that your rectangle is going to turn into a trapezoid without dropping any stitches. I always say the moss stitch is the ultimate test of tension. If you can have a perfectly rectangular or square moss stitch swatch, you are an expert at tension. If you are creating shapes that are not perfectly rectangular or square, then you might want to practice a little bit more, and that's not to sound mean, because that's really the only thing that'll fix it, is just getting your muscle memory down, because it's not a skill test as much as it's a muscle memory test, because your hands, they start to remember the movement, and then eventually you can crochet with your eyes closed. But that is all that is happening in this row. If you want to crochet along with me, you're very welcome to stay. If you want to go ahead and move on to part 3, it will be posted soon if it's not already up. Now, if you're still here, I've got a couple more tension tips. I just went through the comments of some of my videos to look for something to talk about, and there's one question I had not been able to answer for a while. And it is what to do if you have gaps between your stitches, even though your stitches are tight. And I couldn't figure it out, so I had to experiment a little bit with different crochet hooks and different yarns and the way I was holding my yarn. And the only way that I've been able to replicate that is by using a good hook. The hook size is correct, it matches the yarn size, but pulling the stitches too tight. So my recommendation, it would be kind of counterintuitive to what I generally say. If you have tight stitches, you want to go up a hook size. I would say go down a hook size. Go down a hook size and try not to pull the stitches tight. The urge to pull your stitches tight generally comes with the feeling of the yarn running away from you. And if you're using a larger crochet hook, because that's the go-to response when somebody has tight stitches, it might feel like it's running away even faster, making you feel like you have to work overtime to compensate for that. So instead of going up, go down a hook size and try your best not to pull the stitches tight. If that works, let me know. If it doesn't, I'll keep trying. But that's it. I hope I see you in row 3